join me in giving a very warm welcome to Illinois' Treasurer, Michael Frerichs.
Good morning. Thank you, President McGarvey, Secretary Treasurer Bishop, and members of the governing board. I would not be here today without your support. And by that, I mean I wouldn't be standing here without the support of organized labor throughout my life. My father was a member of Teamsters Local 26 for 45 years. My mother retired as a member of AFSCME Local 31, and I stand here today because union wages put food on our table. And union health care benefits paid the hospital bills when I was hit by a car riding my bike at age 13. And a union pension means that my father and mother were able to retire without having to rely on my brothers and me for support. And I want to thank President Biden for convincing Congress to stabilize pension plans, including the one that supports my dad. And my family will tell you that the building trades, the unionized building trades, are still vital to America. And my brother James believes it too. So much so that he's completed 2 apprenticeships with both the operating engineers and the carpenters. No, my brother got a job at the University of Illinois. They had good benefits, and he had to go through a second apprenticeship for that job. No, but I'll tell you, I also have uncles and cousins with the laborers, yes, with the iron workers, electricians, plumbers, and family, and a bunch of other different unions. Yes. Can't be everything to everyone. As a Teamster, my dad hauled rock and asphalt to work sites across central Illinois. He worked hard. He worked long hours. He took his showers when he got home, not before heading out to work before dawn. We never took summer vacations because summer was when Dad worked. I think more than a few of your families know how that works. And in my political career, organized labor has been with me every step of the way. In fact, it was during an internship with the Southwestern Illinois Building Construction Trades that an iron worker, Tadas Kichelinski, first encouraged me to run for office. And he made calls to make sure that I received the endorsement of the AFL-CIO. And I was eventually elected to the state Senate, where I passed bills and helped local communities get funding for infrastructure projects. And it was while serving in the Senate that I was approached by Michael Kerrigan, an IBEW member and president of the Illinois AFL-CIO. He told me that I should run for treasurer. And just like when Tad encouraged me to run for the State House, I wasn't expected to win. My opponent, see, was the Republican leader in the State House. He had the money, he had the establishment. But I had the backing of working families and organized labor. They funded my campaign, they knocked on doors, and after the election in 2014, a very bad year for Democrats. Our Democratic governor went down to defeat, but I won. And it's not just been union money and boots on the ground that have been important to my elections. It's also been union values. See, my dad believed in buying quality. He believed in buying things that were built to last and taking care of them, whether that was clothes that would hold up while working construction or in his vehicles. If you look on the screens here, hopefully we've got a picture. This is my dad. He had a Ford F-100 pickup truck that he loved. And he spent hours polishing, and you see that's me on the back there as well. He spent hours polishing and waxing that truck, and I would often help him. He taught me and my brothers how to take care of things. He has had his current Dodge pickup truck for 25 years, and that's him standing in the bed of the truck. He also took care of his international semi. He owned it for 28 years, put over 1.5 million miles on it, and that is him climbing into the cab for the last time before he sold it. That truck was built to last, and he took care of it. Unfortunately, too many people today think we live in a disposable society. They use something once, and they throw it away. Or it breaks, and they throw it away. But my dad taught me to think differently. He taught me to invest in things that are built to last and to take care of them. And when we think differently, we find solutions that others can't or won't. The men and women of organized labor understand that we are stronger when we stand together. And the building trades know that it's important that when we build things, that they're built to last. I've applied this way of thinking to my job as state treasurer. When we invest, we know that we have a larger voice when we speak together. I have worked with many of your pension funds to directly confront this disposable culture and insist that in America, our strategy is built to last. When we invest in companies, we're owners. And as owners, we have a voice that cannot be ignored. When Marathon Petroleum locked out their unionized workers at a refinery in Minnesota and tried to replace them with scabs, we knew that that was a bad business strategy. Treating your skilled workforce like they're disposable is a recipe for disaster. Management may try to cut costs to increase profits next quarter, but we don't care about the next quarter. We invest for the next quarter century. See, we want companies that will be around and valuable when your members are ready to retire. We join together with the laborers and the Teamsters and other Democratic treasurers to demand that Marathon's management come back to the table. See, individually, we may not have a lot of shares, but collectively, we cannot be ignored. When Berkshire Hathaway decided they would select the contractors to build pipelines in the Midwest by using a reverse auction, we were appalled. Pipelines. If anything should be built to last, it's critical infrastructure. And management was treating the labor to build this investment as if they were disposable. We joined with the UA, with the laborers, with other Democratic state treasurers, and with other union pension plans, and we objected. We may not win every fight, but we aren't afraid to sit across the table from the CEOs to make sure that they use skilled labor and they build projects to last. If you build it right the first time, you'll save costs over the long run. We also thought differently about my office. When I took office, we were paying over $800,000 to lease space in 2 different buildings. We wanted to bring all of our employees together in one building, and we wanted to own it. We found a building that no one else wanted. We saw potential that no one else did. Now, we got a very good deal. We brought everyone together under one roof and wanted to make sure that it would last well beyond my years as treasurer. And to do that, we used union labor. We used union labor to renovate it, to make it more energy efficient, ADA accessible, and be compliant with modern fire code. And it now costs us less every year to operate than the leases we were paying, and we are saving money every year. We did all of this while complying with the historic preservation needs of Abraham Lincoln's bank. Abraham Lincoln used to bank at Marine Bank, our new building. Signing a PLA was a requirement for the general contractor and every subcontractor when we bid a roughly $5 million project. And I think Lincoln would be proud. I think Lincoln would be proud because he once said, quote, "I am glad to know that there is a system of labor where the laborer can strike if he wants to, and I would to God that such a system prevailed all over the world. Today, our building is the envy of the rest of state government, and all of the work to make it that was done by your members. And because we built it right, it will last for decades more. We also thought differently about our unclaimed property department. See, for decades, we'd returned money to individuals in our state. But when I took office, the folks in Illinois will know this, it was at the same time that an anti-union governor declared war on organized labor. Now, I know that war is costly. So we prioritized finding money for unions. And to date, we have returned roughly $3.1 million in missing money to various building trades. Payouts range from over $1 million to the UA down to as little as $3.55 for Teamsters Local 710. It doesn't matter how big it is, it's your money and it should be back into your accounts, because we know that getting money into your accounts does a lot more good for the working men and women of our state than it does sitting in a bank vault in Springfield. So I am the Chief Investment Officer for the state of Illinois, and my predecessors have invested a certain way for decades, but we thought differently. I've seen pension funds investing in PPP projects and make money doing it. I knew that we could not only make money for the state, but we could make our state more competitive, and we would put people to work in the process. And we worked with the operating engineers, the laborers, and several other trade unions to pass legislation and create a first-in-the-nation infrastructure fund under a state treasurer. And in Illinois, we now have a $1.5 billion fund dedicated to making investments in roads and bridges, in communications infrastructure, alternative energy, public housing, and much more. But if we're going to build it, we should build it to last. We wanted that message heard by anyone who wanted our money. And I was proud to deliver that message when I announced that our first $75 million investment was with Ullico, the Union Labor Life Insurance Company. Thank you, Brian. You see, our economy won't be solid if we just develop apps and video games. America needs to build. We know it in Illinois, and I think you need to share that message in your states. You can make money, you can make your states more competitive, and you can put people to work. If you would like to see this kind of investment in union-built projects in your states, let me tell you, it is possible. And we stand ready to share our blueprints. You need to reach out to your treasurers, your representatives and senators, and ask them to think differently. You need to ask them to invest in union-built infrastructure, but remind them that when they build it, make sure that it is built to last. I'll end by saying we're going to build for the long term in Illinois. But in order to do that, we need to work hard on an election this fall. See, we win when we give people good jobs with good wages, and Joe Biden understands that. That's why he passed the Bipartisan Infrastructure Investment Act that's using union labor to rebuild O'Hare Airport, Chicago's Union Station, the Mississippi River's locks and dams, and projects like these throughout America. In fact, I'm going to the White House this afternoon to participate in a discussion on the importance of strong labor principles when investing. You know, it doesn't have to be like this. I remind you of the alternative. Does anyone here remember Donald Trump and his infrastructure weeks that never built a thing? Yeah. Do you remember how his Department of Labor was hostile to unions? I do, and I don't want to go back to that. Joe Biden gets it. He is the first president in American history to walk a picket line. Joe Biden gets it. He may be viewed by some people as old, but that's not a reason to throw him away. Like my father taught me, he still has a lot of good miles in him. He has been there for us, and it's our time to do our part, like my father taught me. We need to get to work to take care of his legacy, because together we will keep rebuilding this country, and together we will build it to last. Thank you very much for all you've done for me. Thank you for all you're going to do this fall.